You may have received an email from a client asking for you to send over a W-9, and if you're like many small business owners, you've probably opened the form and wondered, what exactly am I supposed to put here? Maybe your accountant has asked you to request a W-9 from one of your contractors and they don't know how to complete it. Either way, today we're talking about this very important point that every small business owner should know how to do: how to fill out a W-9 form. Hello, C-Squared Collective, and welcome to our brand new series, Spring Clean Your Finances, Planting Seeds for Better Financial Habits. This series is a practical guide for cleaning up your books, planting better financial habits, and preparing your business for a smoother tax season next year. If this is your first time joining us, welcome on in. Each episode is designed to stand out on its own and give you practical, actionable tips on the topic at hand. But if you would like to dive deeper at any point, be sure to check out the rest of the series or some of our other series linked in the description below. As always, if you have questions, drop them in the comment section or reach out to us directly at c2accounting.net to schedule one-on-one support with our inquiry form, or at connect@c2accounting.net. So grab your beverage. Today I have a matcha, and let's get started. Before we can start talking about how to fill out a W-9, we need to know what is a W-9. A W-9 is a form that provides your taxpayer information to someone who will be paying your business. They typically use that information to issue tax forms, usually a 1099, at the end of the year. Think of it this way. If someone was to hire an employee, they ask for a W-4. If someone was to hire a contractor, they ask for a W-9. Now, the question is, when are you required to request a W-9? Or if you're a contractor, when are you required to send in a W-9? The answer? Always. If you have a contractor working for you, the IRS requires that you request a W-9. Even if the contractor claims to be exempt from a 1099 NEC or a 1099 MISC, which is usually when they are a corporation, the W-9 is the standard way to certify that status. If a contractor does not provide a W-9, the IRS requires a backup withholding of 24% of everything that you pay them under Form 945 rules. So, always send in a W-9 and always request a W-9. If your business does any contracting work, keep this in mind, even if you believe that you are exempt from 1099 reporting. Submitting that W-9 will confirm that status and keep you from that 24% withholding. So, always send it. Our next video in the series goes into the definition of a contractor and best practices in working with them, so make sure you subscribe and check out that playlist of the series in the description below. Now, let's talk about filling out a W-9. The most important thing to remember when filling out W-9s is this. The name on line 1 must match the tax ID number that you provide. It also depends on how you are taxed. If those two things don't match IRS records, the payer can receive what's called a TIN or a TIN mismatch notice, and that creates extra work for everybody involved. So we are going to walk through the form step by step and talk about how it changes depending on your business structure. First, let's look at the most important parts of a W-9 and do a little bit of a tour. Line 1 is your legal name. This must be the name associated with the tax ID that you are providing. Think of it as the name the IRS recognizes for tax purposes for your business. The name should also match how you report and file that income on your tax return. If you report your business income on your personal tax return, then line 1 should be your personal name. And likewise, if you report your business on a separate business tax return, then line 1 should be the legal name of the business. We will get into this for each business type in just a couple of moments, but as I said, name on line 1 must match the tax ID number you provide. Line 2 is for a business name, a trade name, or a disregarded entity name. This is where a DBA, or if you have a separate LLC, that name often goes. Next, you will select your federal tax classification, which tells the payer on how your business is taxed, which we will get into the breakdown on this in just a moment. And then finally, you'll enter your address here. This is the address where you would like your 1099 form to be sent. And last, here in part 1, you will provide your taxpayer identification number. This is where either your social security number or an EIN, which is employer identification number, goes. We're going to pause here and talk quickly about e-filing. As e-filing is becoming more and more common, you may be asked to provide your email. Your client is required to have proof that you agreed to e-filing, so I would recommend adding a cover page to your W-9 that says something along the lines of, "I approve e-filing to," and then insert your email. Or sending an email when you send over your W-9 that says just as much. Now, let's talk about how this works and how to fill this out for each different type of business. Let's first talk about sole proprietors. If you are a freelancer, contractor, or a small business owner operating under your personal name without an LLC, you are considered a sole proprietor. In that case, on line 1, you would enter your personal legal name. If you operate under a business name or a DBA, you can put that on line 2 just to help you out. For your tax classification, you should check the individual or sole proprietor checkmark here. And for the tax ID, you will enter your social security number. Even if you use a business name publicly, the IRS will track your income under your personal name and you submit all of your income under your personal report. Let's first talk about sole proprietors. If you are a freelancer, contractor, or a small business owner operating under your personal name without an LLC, you are considered a sole proprietor. In that case, on line 1, you would enter your personal legal name. If you operate under a business name or a DBA, you can put that on line 2 just to help you out. For your tax classification, you should check the individual or sole proprietor checkmark here. And for the tax ID, you will enter your social security number. Even if you use a business name publicly, the IRS will track your income under your personal name and you submit all of your income under your personal individual/sole proprietor or single member LLC. Do not check the LLC line. And for the tax ID, you can use either your social security number or the LLC EIN. Both are allowed, but the owner's social security number is technically the default for disregarded entities. It is a very common mistake to put the LLC name on line 1. However, this creates a lot of mismatches with IRS records, so make sure your owner's name goes there if the LLC is a disregarded entity. Now, if your single member LLC has elected for S Corp or C Corp taxation, which means that your LLC has filled out Form 2553 or Form 8832, then the LLC itself is the taxpayer. If this is the case, follow the next instructions for LLCs taxed as an S Corp. Now, let's talk about LLCs taxed as an S Corporation. If your LLC has elected to be taxed as an S Corporation, the rules change slightly. Once that election has been made, the business is now treated like its own tax entity. In this case, on line 1, you will enter the LLC's legal name. You will check LLC and write the letter S to indicate an S Corporation taxation. Make sure you fill out that little box over here. And as in part 1, you will enter the business EIN, not a social security number. This tells the payer that payments should be reported under the business entity rather than the individual owner. A quick note here, corporations do not generally receive 1099 NEC forms, even if you are an LLC taxed as an S Corporation. But companies should still request W-9s and you should still submit them if you don't want that 24% withholding. There are a few exceptions when an S Corporation would still get a 1099. A couple of them do, including legal service, so typically attorneys, any medical or healthcare payments, fish purchases for cash, it's rare, but that's the rules, or any backup withholding situations. Now let's talk about multi-member LLCs or partnerships. If your LLC has more than one owner, it is generally taxed as a partnership, unless a different election has been made. In this case, on line 1, you will enter the LLC's legal name. You will check LLC, and then over in this box, you will write P for partnership. And you will provide the EIN for the business. Partnerships should always use an EIN rather than a social security number. Now let's talk about corporations. If your business is structured as a C corporation or S corporation, you simply enter the corporation's legal name in line 1 and check the appropriate classification box. Corporations always provide their EIN. A quick note here, corporations generally do not receive 1099 NEC forms, but companies will still request a W-9 form for the records so that you don't have any deductions. Reminder of exceptions for attorneys, etc. Before we wrap up here, let's go over a couple of common mistakes that we see. First, by putting the LLC name in line 1 for any disregarded entity or sole proprietor. If you are a single member LLC without an S Corp election, the owner's name should always be in line 1. However, many banks and companies would still like to see that LLC name somewhere on the W-9, so that's why we recommend using line 2 for. Second, we see people using the wrong tax ID number. The tax ID must match the name on line 1. So if you are putting an owner's name, social security number. If you are putting an LLC's or a corporation's name, EIN. Third, forgetting to include the tax classification letters for any LLCs. If you check the LLC box, you should always add the letter C, S, or P to indicate how the LLC is taxed. And finally, always remember to sign the form, because any unsigned W-9 is technically incomplete. A W-9 might seem like a small administrative form, but filling it out correctly helps prevent IRS mismatches, any delays, or confusion at year-end when 1099s are issued. At C-Squared, we want to help you clean up your books, plant better financial habits, and prepare your business for smoother taxes next year. Make sure to subscribe to catch more of our series, Spring Clean Your Books, Planting Seeds for Better Financial Habits. If you are unsure which classification applies to your business, it's always worth checking out with your accountant before sending that form out. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. We are happy to help. If you do not have an accountant yet and want your eyes on this form, this, along with many other services, we provide. Submit an inquiry on our website or reach out to us at connect@c2accounting.net. And if you would like to see any more content like this, be sure to check out our other social channels. I've included those links along with the link to the website in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, keep learning so that you can stay rooted in wisdom and grow with care.